Okay, guys, what is up? This is Aji Senpai here today to review Hunter x Hunter episode 2, Hunter x Hunter 2011, episode 100, no, 123. Now, this episode of Hunter x Hunter was actually pretty simple. It was mainly what happened with Ilkalgo and the Welfin, and then at the end we find out what actually happened to Paul. So let me go through with the basics first, and I'm gonna just dive into the episode. When it came to pacing again, it was mainly focused on one part, but the pacing it was kind of lagging at some points. Like you saw them having a standoff. It was Wilson versus Ilkalgo. Ilkalgo was holding his gun. He was like, yeah, yeah, and he was just staring at him. And you had Wellfan just crying, "Oh no, don't kill me, no, no." It was that like that for pretty much the whole episode. But there was some good stuff in there. I'm not gonna say this episode was complete trash. This had to happen because the whole Chicago thing had to end at some point. We're not gonna end this arc without Chicago. Excuse me. So let's continue. Okay, so the pacing was, it was meh. That was okay. It's pretty much okay. It wasn't really that good. No, not even okay. Subpar. I'm gonna give it subpar. When it came to the animation was good because when it came to Ilkalgo and how Ilkalgo had the centipedes within his skull, and saw how they were moving around and stuff. The animation was pretty good there. But when it came to everything else, it was just pretty solid. So I'm gonna give the animation an overall rating of okay. It's okay. 1 second. All right. So yeah, pacing, animation, and story progression. We finally finished the whole Ilkalgo bit. Ilkalgo is now looking for Palm because now Ilkalgo knows where Palm is. Deep inside of that was Cocoon, and so basically he leaves Wolfen. And Wolfen now is just sitting there reflecting on his life. I don't really know. I thought Wolfen was actually gonna help the hunters now. Like I actually thought that for a good minute, but it's whatever with that. So yeah, pacing okay, animation good, and story progression. Yeah, we finally finished it. So yeah, I'm gonna give overall the basics. Okay plus. All right, now let's get into the episode in depth. So I can understand why people didn't really like this episode a lot. I can understand because this episode didn't focus on Netero and King Miriam. It didn't focus on that. It didn't focus on Gon and P2. It didn't focus on them, nor Poof, nor Yuppie, nor any of the none of the other hunters or Chimera ants. But it only focused on Ikago and Welfin, and then it focused on Palm. But it was like the end of the episode. So when it comes to the episode overall, it's basically just Ilkalgo is sought out by Welfin, and Welfin finds him within the control room. And Welfin is about to attack him with Missile Man. Now, we find out a lot more about what Missile Man in this episode, because apparently it's voiced by commands via Welfin. Like, the more resistance the target gives, the more the centipedes become stronger and they can actually tear apart the body from the inside. And apparently, the missile man, it's not ordinary missiles. Matter of fact, we see it just goes into his skull. That's where the centipedes come from. So I thought that was pretty cool. And we see Kago. He actually mentions how okay maybe this guy is more of a manipulator because he can manipulate these centipedes and he can pretty much with those centipedes control like what I can say or I can do. If I say something stupid, he's gonna try and torture me in order to get information out of me. And of course, the reason why Wolfen is there is probably because he wants to find out about the other hunters, their abilities, their numbers, what they can do, stuff like that. So when it comes to that, Wolfen's is pretty much on the hunt for information. Now, when it comes to Ilkalgo, I give him props. I really do. I really do give him props for what he did. Because despite the fact that he didn't want to kill Welfin, he was willing to risk his life and willing to torture another one of the Chimera ants to get information and to get the centerpiece out of his head. But yeah, basically he was willing to torture them and basically willing to risk his life. Does that make up for the fact that he wasn't willing to kill Bravado? it does, but it's not a lot. So Ilkalgo in this episode was actually pretty damn good. I'll give him that. Despite the fact that he hasn't really killed anybody, I'll let it slide because he doesn't like killing, and he did do pretty well in this episode. Now, this episode also digs deeper into Welfin's past. And Welfin remembers how he originally, as a human, because he was reborn as a Khmer Ant, he was originally a human whose parents hated him. And when it came to that, Welfin remembered one person who actually made him happy, and that was Gyro, the leader of NGO. And he remembers how he was originally, I think it was a soldier in NGO, and he got killed. And then, of course, he got eaten up by the Khmer Ant Queen. And as soon as that happened, he came reborn as an ant. But he remembers all this stuff from his past and how his past was pretty damn fucked up. And I think this is more character progression for Welfin because Welfin now realizes, hey, maybe, and he also tells Ilkalgo where Palm is. He tells him all this information. He wasn't even lying the entire time. He wasn't insecure about anything. He just let it all out. And after that, he said, you know what? Telling the truth actually feels good. So, and we see, of course, Ilkalgo smile. So it's kind of like a respect between the two and the fact that Welfin now is changed. And it also goes back to the whole Chimera Ant thing, how the Chimera Ants are becoming more and more human as the story progresses. With UP, the other Royal Guard, course, Royal Guard Squad, King Marion. So the Chimera Ants slowly but surely are becoming more and more human in that aspect. And of course, apparently we see Welfin and Gyro. Gyro apparently was Welfin's brother, but they weren't related by blood. I don't know if they meant. Yeah, I think it meant like they're like just friends, but I'm not too sure because I didn't really pay attention that much to that part, other than the fact that he knew Gyro, and he expresses his remorse for not seeing Gyro one last time. And I remember Gyro's dead, so I'm like, damn. So now we don't know what Welfin's really gonna do. And I really did think that he was gonna help Ilkalgo out at that point. Like he was actually gonna help out Ilkalgo and like join the Hunter's cause in taking down the Chimera Ant King. But apparently he's just laying there. Now will he become later? Will he become important in later episodes? Probably and most likely. Maybe, yeah. I'll probably yeah. Now, when it comes to what Welfin did, because he tells Ilkalgo how while Ilkalgo was missing with Bravada, he actually led I forgot her name, but he actually led one of the Chimera ants, and I forgot his name too. He actually led a couple of Chimera ants and the butler to find the treasure. So he was just helping them out for his plan of some type. And basically that's where they are now. And he saw what went down between Bravada and Ilkalgo. And so that's basically what happens there. And finally, at the end of the episode, Ilkalgo finds out where Palm is. We find out that Palm is actually in the cocoon that I think one of the Court Guard Squad mentioned. Like I think it was Poof. He mentioned how like someone was wrapped in a cocoon, and we find out apparently that's Palm. And at the end of the episode, we see Palm, and she's reborn as this chimera ant-looking creature. So basically, it ends with Ilkalgo and the Welfin, and we're now seeing what's going on with Palm. And the preview for next week shows that Palm is out, and she looks like she's become actually evil. And of course, Killua has to deal with that because we see him in this episode. So he probably charged up. He's probably trying to find Gon or any of the other hunters and join their cause and help them out with their cause again. So yeah, that's pretty much the episode overall. I'm gonna give this episode because of it. Like it only focused on one part and it was not really that important. But because this episode had to be there because it was important, we had to finish up with the Ilkalgo story. I'm gonna give this an OK plus. Yeah, an OK plus episode rating. So yeah, this is OK plus. Yeah. So like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't. Rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. I'm OJ Senpai. Out. Peace, guys.